It is week 107 on EconoChat. Let's talk business with Mr. Daniel Steinman. I'm your hostess, Elsa B. Tivignani, and a warm welcome to our listeners, and of course a warm welcome to Mr. Daniel Steinman.
Thank you, Elsa B., and good afternoon, listeners.
Okay, so today we are talking nuclear power. I don't think that it is a topic enough that is making its rounds in the public's, circles of talking about important things in the country. And by the look of things is that Namibia is the third largest producer of uranium in the world and the largest producer in Africa. Yet it has no nuclear power plant reactors. So instead, practically all of Namibia's electricity demands are met by South Africa, Zimbabwe and Zambia.
That's correct. The so-called Southern African power pool.
Yes.
But you said that nuclear power doesn't feature on the radar. It doesn't feature on the radar now. It comes and goes.
Okay.
Every time there's this threat that we will not be able to afford the electricity from South Africa, then somebody revives the whole notion of why don't we build our own nuclear power station?
Yes.
And it's interesting that about 25 years ago, I wrote a very investigating piece on nuclear power.
Yeah.
Why we can't build our own nuclear power station, because there's no reason technically why we can't. We've got the fuel, which is the uranium, the technology to enrich it from uranium oxide to uranium 235 or 238, whichever isotope we need for that particular enrichment facility. That is very well known. It's also very well contained, meaning that the risks of 100 years ago in nuclear power, it's basically 1,000%. It is not higher risk than any other industrial plant. And getting it from where you generate it to the customer is easy. You just put up a line. It's electricity.
Yeah.
So the mining, the generation, and the distribution part of the technology is all very well known. So why did we not build a nuclear power plant?
Yeah.
Because the financing side is against it and has been for the last 50 years. And this is what I want to talk about, because I get asked a lot about this from both technical people and from non-technical people. There are very keen investors, particularly in Germany, that would love to give us the grant or the loan in whatever form, that would finance a nuclear power plant. Yeah. So I'm repeating the question, why not? And if you look at conventional nuclear technology that you have in Europe and in China, Korea, United States, there were certain risks involved. But it's a fairly old technology. It's technology that comes from the 1960s and 1970s. The Koeberg plant in Cape Town is probably, that's the only nuclear plant in Africa, but it's probably the last of that generation of nuclear power plants. And like with all technologies, it has a 30-year lifespan, and you can extend this to about 50 years if you modify certain aspects of it. But the point is, nuclear technology is available. Nuclear technology is developed. Yeah. So again, why not? And I think it's now the third time that I'm coming back. Why not? Because everything says yes, we can.
Yeah.
But something has been holding us back. Let's break it down systematically. First of all, to enrich uranium is very, very, very expensive. We will not be able to do it from own resources. We will need investors. So there you will typically look at the type of deal that we have in the oil and gas industry or in the rest of the mining industry, where the government takes either a 5 or a 10% stake in the concern that is put up by the foreign investor, which is usually a conglomerate. So enriching is very expensive. So you need to be able to finance it. Secondly, to be able to generate electricity affordably from a nuclear source, you need a certain economies of scale. Meaning you can't put up a small nuclear power plant. You have to put up a big one.
Yeah.
You have to produce a certain amount of kilowatt hours per year. There's a threshold. If it's below that, it's too expensive. It has to be above that. And then we get to the market. The Namibian market is too small to carry the investment in an enrichment facility or the actual power plant.
Okay.
So it means that we need external clients. We need off-takers, is the word that we use. And it's obvious those are South Africa, Botswana, Zambia, Angola to a certain extent, Zimbabwe. Fortunately, in the last 30 years, we've made big strides in almost completing the electricity grid or the electricity ring. It means that we want to connect all the countries in Southern Africa to one big mega grid. And I think we are about 75% along the way to achieve that. But distribution is also not the main headache. Let's quickly go for a walk, and then we look at why you need a certain size.
Okay, let's do that.